The wind whispered through the cracked windows, a mournful melody that sent shivers down my spine. I stepped through the shattered entrance, the air heavy with a sense of foreboding. Moonlight filtered through broken glass, painting the hallway in eerie, fragmented patterns. In one room, I found a gurney with restraints still fastened, as if holding on to the memory of its last occupant. In another, a child's drawing hung crookedly on the wall, the innocent image now twisted into something unsettling. As I ventured deeper, the air grew colder, and a sense of unease settled like a weight on my shoulders. A flickering light led me to a room where a flickering projector cast dancing shadows on the walls. The images that played were a chilling montage of medical procedures gone awry, accompanied by distorted voices that seemed to cry out in pain. My flashlight's beam revealed a stairwell leading down into darkness. With each step, the temperature dropped further, and the walls seemed to close in on me. The basement was a realm of absolute darkness, the silence punctuated only by the distant drip of water. And then, a soft whisper echoed in the abyss, a voice that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. I followed the voice to a room where an old patient record lay discarded on the floor. As I picked it up, I felt a sudden gust of wind, and the door slammed shut behind me. Panic surged through me as I realized I was not alone. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on forms that were all too real. Twisted figures with elongated limbs and empty eyes. With a surge of adrenaline, I fled deeper into the darkness, stumbling into an operating theater adorned with rusted surgical instruments. The air grew heavy with the stench of antiseptic and decay. I could feel a presence behind me, a cold breath on my neck. I turned, and there she was, a spectral nurse, her gaze filled with malice and longing. Her bony fingers reached out, and I backed away, the walls closing in around me. The hospital itself seemed to come alive, its very architecture shifting and warping as if in sympathy with the entities that haunted it. My mind was a whirlwind of terror, my thoughts a chaotic dance of survival and surrender. And as the first rays of dawn broke through the shattered windows, I stumbled back into the open air, the hospital's malevolent presence fading behind me. But the memories remained, etched into my mind like a scar, a reminder that some mysteries are best left untouched, and some nightmares never truly end. Weeks passed since that fateful night, but the haunting memories of the abandoned hospital refused to let go. His sleep was elusive, my dreams plagued by visions of twisted corridors and ghostly apparitions. It was as if the spirits that dwelled within those walls had tethered themselves to my very soul. I became consumed by an insatiable curiosity, driven to uncover the truth behind the hospital's sinister history. My research led me to dusty archives and forgotten newspaper clippings. The hospital had once been a place of groundbreaking medical experiments that had gone horribly wrong. Patients had vanished without a trace, their fates shrouded in secrecy. The deeper I delved, the more I realized that the hospital's darkness was not limited to its physical walls. It was as if an ancient evil had been awakened, and its malevolent energy seeped into the very fabric of reality. Strange occurrences plagued me, objects moving on their own, whispers in the dead of night, and fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures out of the corner of my eye. Desperation drove me back to the hospital, armed with a determination to confront the entities that tormented me. The moonlight illuminated the shattered windows like shards of glass, and as I stepped through the entrance, a suffocating silence descended. It was a silence that held the weight of centuries, a silence that bore witness to unspeakable horrors. I retraced my steps through the labyrinthine corridors, my heart pounding like a drum. This time, I was not alone. Figures danced at the edges of my vision, their forms twisting and contorting in unnatural ways. The hospital itself seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, its walls closing in on me with each step. I reached the basement once more, the epicenter of the darkness that had consumed this place. A spectral glow emanated from the room where I had first encountered the nurse. The air grew heavy, suffused with a sense of impending doom. The nurse materialized before me, her eyes hollow and accusing. "You should have stayed away," she whispered, her voice a chilling echo in the darkness. I stood my ground, fueled by a mix of fear and defiance. I demanded to know what she wanted, why she and the other spirits clung to this cursed place. Her tale unfolded, a tragic narrative of experimentation and suffering. Her tale unfolded, a tragic narrative of experimentation and suffering. The hospital had been a playground for a mad scientist, his thirst for knowledge leading him to cross boundaries that should never have been breached. Patients had become subjects, their agony feeding the darkness that now held them captive. As the nurse spoke, a tempest of emotions welled within me. Sorrow for the tormented souls, anger at the scientist's cruelty, and a resolve to break the cycle of suffering. The nurse's form wavered, and for a moment I glimpsed a glimmer of humanity in her eyes. With a final plea for release, the nurse faded away, her form dissipating into the air. The basement trembled, and the walls seemed to exhale a collective sigh of relief. The malevolent energy that had gripped the hospital began to recede, like a tide retreating from a cursed shore. As I stepped out of the hospital, the sun was beginning to rise, casting a warm glow over the world. The weight that had clung to me for so long finally lifted, replaced by a sense of closure and redemption. The hospital had become a place of catharsis, a canvas for the redemption of lost souls. The memories remained, etched into my mind like scars, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, there is a glimmer of hope. The haunted, abandoned hospital would forever be a part of me, a testament to the power of facing our fears, and a reminder that some battles are fought not with weapons, but with the strength of the human spirit.